of late, taking some ill-advised shots. Getting to the foul line could be just the remedy to get him out of his funk.
Although, Tennessee. I'd like to welcome those of you that were watching UCLA knock off Arizona 73-69 in Pac-10 basketball. Dave Neal along with Eddie Fogler. Glad you could join us from Knoxville, Tennessee. South Carolina, Tennessee going at it. And the Vols, losers of 3 straight. South Carolina, losers of 4 consecutive. Somebody will walk out of here with a win tonight. Snap that losing skid. Right now, South Carolina up 5-2. Efka Manolis, the freshman, off to the senior. Bryce Sheldon, a little runner, no good. Tapped around, rebound pulled out of there by Juwan Smith. Lofton to the basket, offensive foul. Sheldon drew the charge.
Well, the scouting report obviously is to make Lofton put the ball down and drive it to the basket. Not only does it happen, but the foul is drawn. Nice play by Sheldon. Close.
Here's the pressure by Tennessee. Off to Trey Kelly.
Of course, Tennessee will press on every dead ball and every make, Dave. I look for them to try to do 2 things with it. Wear Kelly out and keep the ball out of his hands. Not another true point guard on the South Carolina roster.
Inside it goes to Dominique Archie. Archie tied up in the middle. Loose basketball. Comes off to Lofton. Up ahead to Juwan Smith. Smith's layup, no good. Foul on Kelly. That'll be 2 free throws on the way.
Well, the turnover, and when you turn it over against Tennessee, a small team, but a very good ball handling, passing team. This is good for Smith. Smith has struggled from the perimeter of late, taking some ill-advised shots. Getting to the foul line could be just the remedy to get him out of his funk.
Although Tennessee coach has been brutal at the free throw line in the last 3 games. As a team, they are shooting 43%, 18 out of 41. And in those 3 games, they lose by a combined 6 points. You figure it out. And it continues.
And the funk continues.
Here's Manolis. Off to Trey Kelly.
Lofton on Wallace inside. Wow.
And Trey Kelly hobbles back down the floor, and quickly Tennessee threw it away, but then South Carolina can't keep it alive. Here's Juwan Smith. His 3 is good.
Well, some guys can't make open shots from 15 feet, but they can bang home contested 3s from 23 feet. Juwan Smith.
Coach, he was just 4 of 20 from the floor versus Ohio State and Vandy in combined efforts. And then against Auburn, he kind of shook things off offensively when he knocked down 7 out of 13 field goals.
Switching the ball screens. Want to keep Kelly in front.
Well off the mark. Manolis tries to save it. But right into the hands of Juwan Smith. Here's Ramar Smith. Right to the iron. Couldn't get it to go down. Kelly nearly threw it away as Juwan Smith gets a hand on it. Dave Odom trying to find some answers. He's been tweaking with his lineups of late. He put Bryce Sheldon back in the lineup tonight to go with a more experienced group on the road. But Dave Odom now in his 6th year at South Carolina, 110 wins. And Bruce Pearl in his 2nd season at Tennessee. Last year, this club 23-15 and winners of the SEC Eastern Division.
Both veteran coaches, a lot of years under their belt, and both very successful at each school they've coached at. South Carolina doing a nice job trying to control the tempo. I don't think they can win this game, Dave, if it gets over 70.
Rebound pulled out of there by Wayne Chisholm. Off to Dane Bradshaw now. Juwan Smith will try it again, and he's got it again.
Well, the open look and the penetration and pitch by Dane Bradshaw. 85 assists and only 31 turnovers this season as a Vol.
You know, I just remember last season, and it's remarkable because he handles the ball so much, but he went 7 games without a turnover last year.
That's incredible, hard to believe.
And another turnover gives it back to Tennessee. So far, Juwan Smith has found the range off the assist from Dane Bradshaw. The Vols lead by 1. Smith, Chris Lofton leading the SEC in scoring, and Ramar Smith, who has been on a tear of late. Round out the starting 5 for Tennessee, and for South Carolina, their 5, along with Evka Banulis, the freshman out of Lithuania, and Bryce Sheldon back in the lineup tonight after a 2-game stint coming off the bench. So 3 seniors and 2 freshmen for Dave Odom's club. Tennessee off to an 8-7 start. It's been Juwan Smith, a couple of 3-pointers, a 35% shooter from behind the arc. He and Chris Lofton have combined for 114 3-point shots so far this year.
South Carolina, Dave, coming out with its first possession of zone after the timeout. With Lofton out of the game, a good move by Dave Odom.
Here's Ramar Smith tied up, traveled with the basketball. Officials today, by the way, Rick Chris Lofton taking a break.
Well, zone is one thing, but you got to zone the right combinations. If you have a non-shooting team or an average shooting team on the court, zone's always a good way to go. With Lofton out, I think most teams would zone Tennessee.
Brandis Raley-Ross checks in the game as we see Wallace handling the point right now. He actually will bring the ball up quite a bit. With no true backup point guard for Dave Odom, he's had to go to about any option he has.
Josh Tabin, number 25, a defensive specialist, just shadowing Kelly, keeping the ball out of his hands. It's 4-on-4 now.
Shot clock down to 3. Banulis off the side of the backboard. And a carrying violation.
Well, that's a good call right in front of us. Mike Nance with the call. The advantage of taking his hand from under the ball and turning the ball over to create an extra yard or so to go by the defender. He just picks it up and creates the angle to get to the hole.
No doubt about that palming violation. South Carolina is a team that doesn't turn it over a lot, but they're also a team that doesn't create many turnovers, so it's kind of a wash. As I say that, they cough it up. Juwan Smith with the finger roll. That'll be 8 points for Juwan, and we have played 6 minutes. South Carolina coaching a 3-minute scoring drought.
Well, Brandis Raley-Ross picked his dribble up. A Cardinal sin versus pressure defense.
Here's Kelly to the basket. Shot blocked. The follow goes down for Dominique Archie. Tennessee quickly back the other way. Tab will get it off to Childress.
South Carolina back man-to-man, and they get caught napping on a back screen. I don't think, Dave, all 5 players knew what defense they were in, and they give up a layup.
Tennessee leads the Southeastern Conference in offensive rebounds at 14.3 a game.
And leads the league in scoring points per game.
So you think there's something there?
Absolutely.
Kelly for 3. That's back-to-back air balls for Trey from behind the arc.
But then he comes, Dave, and goes from behind and tips it away. And the easy dunk for South Carolina. Nice recovery by Trey Kelly.
First basket for Brandon Wallace. Juwan Smith has scored the last 10 points for Tennessee. Here's Ramar Smith. That won't go down. Tapped around. It'll be Tennessee basketball. And Jordan Howell coming on the floor now for Tennessee. Young man has missed 7 games, broke his hand in practice, and he will be an added benefit, if for nothing else, just to give some guys in the backcourt a few minutes of rest. Bruce Pearl telling me today about how important Jordan's 10 minutes will be tonight. It just gives Chris Lofton an extra 2 minutes of break. Juwan Smith an extra 2 minutes.
South Carolina in the zone. Look how far out Banulis comes when Lofton has the ball. There's no range that he can't shoot the basketball from with accuracy.
Tab kicks it off to Lofton, guarded by Kelly. Here's Tab. And he got hit driving through the lane.
You know, Dave, the injury that occurred for Jordan Howell, I think, was a blessing in disguise for Tennessee. It gave Lamar Smith more responsibility, more minutes, and he has delivered. Now that they got him back as Cruz dumps the basketball, I think they're a better team for the injury.
Chisholm with that jam. 14-11 Tennessee. There's Wallace. Rayleigh Ross, the freshman out of Charlotte, North Carolina, gets it off to Wallace. Benulis off a screen. Rebound to Childress. Off to Howard. Lofton is 0 for 1. And a push against Dwayne Day. That's back-to-back fouls for Dwayne Day. 2 for him. With a timeout on the floor, Tennessee leads it by 3. Back after this. Chris Lofton took a 3-minute and 45-second break, but Tennessee still went on a 10-4 run against South Carolina. They lead it by 3. Part of the reason is Juwan Smith. He's off to a hot start, Coach.
Well, the penetration and pitch by Bradshaw, those are wide open threes, that second one particularly. And the steal, you love to get these kind of baskets, Dave. Here's a young man that shoots 2/3 of his attempts from the three-point line. 10 points, 4 of 4 from the floor, 2 rebounds, 3 rebounds and 1 assist already for Juwan Smith.
Pretty good start for Juwan, averaging 14 points a game, second best on this team, 15th in the Southeastern Conference. You saw that steal in those highlights. He is second in the SEC in steals per game. Perhaps one of the knocks on Juwan is, you know, he's coughed it up 40 times this year, but in this style of play, you gotta kind of give your guys, I guess, a little bit more of a leash in that department.
Well, with more possessions, Dave, you are going to have more mistakes.
There's one of them, Childress, right into a double team taken by Wallace. Rayleigh Ross pump fakes Childress, left it short. Loose ball, last touch by Lofton. It'll be South Carolina basketball. Gamecocks 5 out of 12 from the floor to start this game. Dave Odom's club they cannot afford to shoot a bad percentage.
And Josh Tapp still all over Trey Kelly.
Here's Day, guarded by Howell. Kelly gets rid of Tapp. They can't find him. In the corner, it's Rayleigh Ross. Misses again. And rebound to Josh Tapp. He'll push the tempo. Howell back to Childress. Here's Howell. Shot clock approaching 10 seconds. South Carolina doing a great job defensively. They're going to have to force a shot here as Howell takes it in the lane. Got the nice roll.
Well, welcome back. First shot after the absence from the injury, and he gets the roll. The clock running down, but the penetration and the soft touch. Here's where Tennessee's great. Pressure on the ball, particularly in spot throws, and now they make Brandon Wallace a point guard.
The second 3-minute scoring drought of the game for South Carolina right now, but Tennessee's lead is only 5. Dave Odom telling us today that he kind of likes a more deliberate pace offensively, but in a game like this, he doesn't mind if they get a shot off quicker than he normally would, as Brandon Wallace goes to the baseline and jams it for his second dunk tonight.
And both these teams giving up too many easy baskets, and that's why their field goal percent defense is not particularly good so far in Southeastern Conference play.
Offensive foul on the inside. That will go against Josh Tapp. You mentioned
Benulis comes out. Excellent defense coming across the lane by Day. Very difficult to drive the ball from outside the three-point line and get to the basket without running over a good team defense.
Here's Rayleigh Ross. across the half-court stripe. You mentioned field goal percent defense. Both these teams rank in the bottom two. Tennessee 12th in opponent's field goal percentage, while South Carolina is 11th in opponent's field goal percentage. And a hand check called against Chris Lofton. That'll be his second.
That's a big foul. Be interesting to see. And already Bruce Pearl is going to the bench. And Tab will replace Chris Lofton. South Carolina, Dave, could very well look at going back zone now with Lofton on the bench.
Bruce Pearl on the far side having a little discussion with Mike Nance. Of course, Bruce Pearl had a discussion in their last outing against Auburn late in the game on a call he did not agree with, and it cost his team a technical late in the game, a three-point contest. Talking to him about the incident on Wednesday night over in Auburn, he says, you know, we just got to get past it to play better basketball. That's a good way to start. Howell with a bounce pass inside to Duke Cruz, who now has 4.
Well, that's why Jordan Howell is going to be a big part of this team now that he's back. Outstanding feed to the post.
Benulis in and out, won't go. Wide open look for the freshman. Juwan Smith off to Bradshaw. 4 rebounds for Juwan Smith already. And a traveling violation against Cruz. 7 turnovers by Tennessee.
The defense is on the high side. Wallace does not have contact with Cruz. And the first thing you do when you catch it on the wing, you always look inside.
In that situation, Wallace has got to be behind his man a little bit more, just in contact with
Well,
him.
Dave, you either got to be behind it or totally in front of it, because once it goes in low in this league, the big people either score or get fouled. He was nowhere close.
How do you play it?
I try to deny in low. I think you got to keep the ball from going in too low, because again, the big people can score or get fouled. You got to front the low post.
Especially this year, the inside people in the Southeastern Conference, the post players, they are really something else this season in the SEC. Kenley gets tied up. There's a takeaway. Juwan Smith is everywhere. It's almost like he's got a twin on the floor tonight. He'll pull up from 3. Benulis the rebound.
That's the kind of shots that maybe drive Bruce Pearl a little nutty. Very contested, no passes, no offensive rebounding possibilities for Tennessee when that shot goes up.
Well, he was hot. It was his first miss of the night. South Carolina has missed a lot. 0 field goals. And that streak will continue. And a foul against South Carolina. That will go against Dominique Archie, the redshirt freshman out of Augusta, Georgia. 5-point game here in Knoxville. Stay with us. Thompson Bowling Arena. An outstanding crowd on hand tonight. Close to a full house inside this mammoth structure, which will be going under a renovation in the coming years to the tune of about $15 million. Already beginning a basketball practice facility at one of the end zones here. So certainly some additions and renovations on the way. And why not? These people are filling up this building.
Absolutely. Bruce Pearl has created quite a stir here in his year and a half in Knoxville, and facilities are a statement, Dave. They're a direct statement, particularly to potential recruits, that basketball is important here in Tennessee.
I was in Lexington last weekend doing a Kentucky game, had a chance to see their new practice facility attached to Memorial Coliseum, and boys, it's something else. They did an outstanding job.
And Chris Lofton, Dave, back out on the court with 2 fouls with 7:15 to play.
He's only attempted 1 shot tonight. Lamar Smith, his shot didn't go down. Rebound to Sheldon. How about this? South Carolina's had 2 3+ minute droughts in this game, but yet they only trail by 5. Tennessee has not been able to take advantage of any of this lack of offensive production by South Carolina.
Well, Tennessee has turned it over too much, and Tennessee has not been able to get on a 3-point barrage here since the early threes by Smith, Juwan Smith.
Dad back on the floor. Lofton takes a seat. South Carolina 6 out of 18 from the floor.
Here we have Bradshaw guarding Wallace. You got to take advantage of Bradshaw defensively guarding a 6'10" player.
And Bryce Sheldon steps back, knocks down a 3. It's a 2-point contest. Here's Tab. Inside it goes to Wayne Chisholm. Chisholm off to Bradshaw. Lamar Smith takes it to that low block. Didn't settle for the jump shot. Laid it off the glass.
And nice play again by Bradshaw. He makes the feet out.
Three. Make that 4 assists for Dane Bradshaw. Sheldon will try it again. Off the front of the iron. Rebound off to Chisholm. That'll be his 3rd board. Bradshaw steps back. Rebound Wallace. 4 of those for Brandon. Look at the 3-point shooting. South Carolina. They are the worst shooting 3-point team in the SEC in terms of percentage at just over 31%. Meanwhile, Tennessee 6th in the league at 37%.
And South Carolina controlling the tempo on the offensive end. Very patient here. This is a low-scoring game. This favors the Gamecocks.
Shot clock down to 4. Sheldon, little runner, won't go down, and the ball's pinned. And they will say, let's go to the possession arrow, and it'll favor Tennessee.
Dave, what I was saying before, Bradshaw is such a hard cover on the offensive end for a power forward. He's a 6'4" guy being guarded by a 6'10" guy. That's a tough cover. If it's a tough cover on the offensive end, I think teams need to, when they get the ball on the offensive end, throw the ball inside to the 6'10" player that is being guarded by Dane Bradshaw. By playing zone as well, you slow the game down on the defensive end of the court. Low-scoring ball game here.
Lamar Smith. Oh, he elevate. Went up over Dominique Archie and laid it up and in.
And how many point guards can go over 6'8" guys and score?
6-point lead. Here's Archie on the other end, making it a 4-point game. 6 now for Archie. It's a good sign for South Carolina fans. Lofton misfires. Rebound to Kelly. Off to Sheldon. He's got an open lane. Misses the layup.
Wow. Sheldon gets out on the break. Look at that pass. Oh, my.
Chisholm will step to the free throw line, but back at the other end today at practice, Dave Odom spoke specifically to Bryce Sheldon at shoot-around, who had missed a few layups in practice during their walkthrough, and said, you have got to make those.
Well, layups, no excuse for missing layups, but how about the pass from Bradshaw after the easy bucket is missed? Dead layup by Sheldon. 4-point potential miss.
Chisholm knocks down the free throw. That foul on Wallace, his first.
And so far, Dave, South Carolina has done an excellent job of not turning the ball over versus the Tennessee press or versus the Tennessee defenses when the ball is being taken out of bounds, which is what Tennessee maybe does as well as anybody in the country.
Looking at some of those numbers in terms of forcing opponents into turnovers off inbounds passes is amazing. They average 6 turnovers per game. When opponents are trying to inbound the basketball, they have forced 17 timeouts because they couldn't inbound the basketball.
And the Gamecocks playing with a lot of confidence here. Archie slips the screen and gets the easy layup.
Archie with 8. Bad shot. And Chisholm able to take it away. It's a 3-on-1. He lays it up and in.
Dave Odom didn't see the play. He's asking his assistant coaches what happened as Chisholm swiped the ball back for the layup.
Here's Kelly. Comes off the screen. Off the back of the out. Archie back to Kelly. Trey in the lane. Tough shot. Won't go down. Batted around. Archie has it. Archie, nice spin. Lays it up and in. Dominique Archie with 10 in the game.
Ryan Childress just got used and abused on that spin dribble.
Lamar Smith, the freshman out of Mount Clemens, Michigan. We'll get the basketball back. Lamar averaging just shy of 10 points a game. Dumped down to Childress. Bryce Sheldon had his hands on it. It fell right back to Ryan Childress, and then Wallace is whistled for the foul, and that will be number 2 on Brandon Wallace. 3:12 to go here in Knoxville. The Vols lead it by 4. it's amazing that Dave Odom's club shooting 37%. They're being out-rebounded by 4 to this point, but they're only down 4, and they've been able to keep the tempo at their liking. How have they been able to do that and stay in the game?
Well, they've slowed the game down on both ends of the court, Dave. Offensively, they've had great patience. They're running the clock, 35-second clock down almost every possession. Defensively, by zoning, it takes more time for a team to attack a zone. So they are now slowing it down both ways, and they have kept Tennessee from getting a run off its press or off its three-point shooting ability.
Yeah, there haven't been a whole lot of runouts by Tennessee, something that they excel at when they're clicking on all cylinders. A couple of free throws knocked down by Childress. That'll make it a 6-point game, his first points, and Childress will head to the bench.
And look at this, Dave. Tennessee calling off the press. You do not see this very often. Give credit to Dave Odom and his staff. Very prepared to play Tennessee here.
You know, having a guy like Brandon Wallace, who's not on the floor right now with 2 fouls, but his ability to handle the basketball at 6'9" has got to be a big plus in a situation like facing Tennessee.
Well, they throw it back to him stepping on, right, Coach? I didn't want my big people handling the ball in the backcourt. It's nice to, again, he's really a small forward, Brandon Wallace.
Here's Kelly off to Archie. Archie's having a great night. That's a bad shot. Shot clock is under 10. Here's Lamar Smith. Off to Tabb. Chris Lofton, by the way, only 2 field goal attempts. He's not on the floor right now. And that'll be the second foul on Josh Tabb. Or excuse me. It'll be on Wayne Chisholm.
There's Wallace out of the game now for South Carolina. Not a very big team on the court for the Gamecocks. And again, no press by Tennessee. Do not see this very often from Bruce Pearl's club.
And Chad Gray, who just checked in moments ago, steps on that sideline. That'll be the 6th South Carolina turnover.
You know, Dave, it's very unusual to see a mid-semester eligibility of a young man being played so soon. It shows you the lack of depth that South Carolina has on its roster. A very talented athlete, was not admitted to school till after exams in December, but out here playing already.
December 19th, he was admitted, Coach, and then shortly thereafter, he suffered turf toe in practice and had to miss some games and some time on the floor as Jawan Smith hits another 3. He's got 13 in the game.
Well, if there's one guy you don't want to shoot the 3 versus your zone, it's Smith. How about that line drive?
3 threes in the game for Jawan Smith. Here's Trey Kelly, will back it out. Kelly spins in the lane, and high arching shot. Too strong, batted around, Archie has it. And that'll be an offensive foul as he lowered the shoulder. His second on Dominique Archie.
Well, the Gamecocks cannot afford foul trouble already. We have the center and power forward with 2 fouls. The penetrate and the pitch, and there's the best shooter for Tennessee on the court, wide open.
Juan Smith has stepped up in that department of the hot shooter with Lofton on the bench. Lofton not many minutes tonight due to a couple of early fouls.
Wallace back in with 2 fouls, and the fouls looking inside to Duke Cruz.
Senior Wallace working on the freshman Cruz. And Wallace getting frustrated. Cruz slips the double team and then is fouled underneath as he went up. Archie will pick up the foul, and that'll be the 3rd on Dominique Archie, and that'll send Cruz to the free throw line.
Well, if the Gamecocks had any depth, the pick and roll and the Archie late getting over. With any depth, you certainly don't have a starter with 2 fouls on the court with 1:10 to go. But Dave Odom really has no choice. I don't think, Dave, people realize the losses outside of Ronaldo Balkman that South Carolina has taken a hit with from their team of last year. Balkman, of course, the first-round draft choice of the New York Knicks, who went early. But Torrance Kinsey is with the Memphis Grizzlies, and Rocky Trice was their best defender.
Coming up on the Chevy Halftime Report, we'll hear from Dave Odom. He chatted with our own Eddie Fogler. And we'll also check in with some scores from around the SEC and look at our stats and highlights here in the first half. That's all in our Chevy Halftime Report coming up in 1 minute and 8 seconds on the game clock.
And Tennessee has quietly built an 11-point lead.
It has not been pretty. It has not been a pretty effort by either club. And Kelly picks up his dribble, just gets it off before a 5-second violation.
Tennessee switching the weave out front. The handoffs are being switched, but Smith doesn't let Kelly touch it.
Here's Wallace at the elbow. Won't go down. Benulis finds a way to get that rebound and then is grabbed by Jordan Howell, who will pick up the foul. That'll be the first on Howell. And as a team, that will be the 16th foul against Tennessee, so the Gamecocks will inbound it.
Well, offensive boards for South Carolina have really been effective here today. Tennessee might be the best offensive rebounding team in the league, Dave, with all the threes that are being shot, long rebounds, but they are a small basketball team on the defensive end and having trouble getting the Gamecocks off the offensive board.
Well, if you're Dave Odom, come up with a basket here, a 2 or a 3, you got to feel pretty good to keep it a single digits on the road. You played your kind of tempo.
Well, I think, too, we look for South Carolina to play for the last shot of the half. There's a 1.5 second difference between game clock and shot clock. But
we have got more SEC basketball coming your way. SEC Saturday night presents a doubleheader beginning with Auburn and Florida from Auburn, Alabama. That'll be next Saturday beginning at 5 o'clock Eastern time. And then South Carolina travels to Starkville to take on Mississippi State. That'll be coming up at 7 o'clock Eastern time. So an SEC join us for all that.
Well, I get to see you again down at Auburn for the Florida game next Saturday.
I've got Florida at Mississippi State on Wednesday night, which should be an interesting game in Starkville.
Well, Mississippi State and Georgia, I think the two most improved teams in the Southeastern Conference.
And Mississippi State wins today, but they've had some tough losses.
Gamecocks running the clock down. Typically, it will be in Trey Kelly's hands at the end of the possession. They want hot more play first.
Nice pass from Day, but nothing to show for it. Here's Bradshaw. Clock down to 5 seconds. Kick basketball. It will remain Tennessee possession.
A lot of time left here. South Carolina looks like they're straight man-to-man.
Bradshaw will inbound it off to Howell. Howell will have to get the shot off. The follow won't go down. But Tennessee still leads it by 11. They held South Carolina without a point for 3 minutes and 45 seconds to end the half. Tennessee shoots 50%, South Carolina 32%. Our Chevy halftime report is coming your way.
You're watching FSN South.
Tennessee leading by 11 at halftime, 33-22 as we roll on with our Chevy halftime report from Knoxville, Tennessee. It's been a tough go of it of late for the South Carolina basketball team, but Dave Odom, one of the more positive individuals, sees a bright future, but trying to snap a 4-game skid in this league can be tough, as he found out in our conversation with our coach, Eddie Fogler.
Dave, 12 years head coach at Wake Forest, now in your 6th year at South Carolina. Have you ever seen a league from top to bottom more balanced in the Southeastern Conference this year?
I don't want to remember it if I did. I've seen some really good leagues, as you have, Eddie. But this year, boy, I'll tell you, you look at the scores, you look at the teams, and you think there's no weak links. There's nobody out there you can say, that's the night we're going to play well, that's the night we're going to win. Not in this league, not at home or away.
22nd in America, leading by 11. Tennessee 13-5 on the year. South Carolina comes in 10-6. Both these clubs trying to snap losing streaks, and in this league it's going to be tough. I don't think there's anybody going to run away with it, Coach, and after today's scores there's only one team left that is undefeated in SEC play, and that's #1 ranked Florida. Look at the scoreboard from today. What do you Commodores? Kentucky had the longest winning streak in the SEC at 11 games, and you go back to the Arkansas win 20 by LSU. Remember, it was just on Wednesday night. Georgia goes into Fayetteville and wins at the buzzer in a 3-point shot by Steve Newman. So I think that you got to defend your home floor at all cost, and if you can sneak 1 or 2 out on the road, you're way ahead of the game.
Well, no question. Going into today's games, the road team had only won 4 times and had lost 17 times. Now Vanderbilt gets a road win today, so exactly right. The teams that will come to the top are those that can win away from home.
Let's take a look at those standings updated with today's scores. And there you'll see Florida, the only team left in the SEC that is undefeated in conference play, ranked #1 in America.
Certainly 7 deserving teams, I think, at the end of the year. Can the league get 7 after getting 6 last year?
We'll find out. We'll find out in a couple months, won't we?
Absolutely.
Well, stay with us. We've got more of our Chevy halftime report from right here in Knoxville, Tennessee. We'll take a look at some highlights, and you can bet that this man will be involved in a few of them. Juwan Smith off to a great start in the first 20 minutes. Back in a moment. The month of January, coming off a 3-game road trip that saw them lose all 3 games. They're glad to be back in this building, and a couple of guys in particular, Juwan Smith, coach, very happy to be inside as Tennessee got it rolling.
Well, the nice feed by Smith for the dunk by Cruz. Smith, a streaky 3-point shooter, lighting it up here today from 3 as he gets on the offensive boards. Tennessee got some good looks early, and the really good feed from Hal and the easy dunk by Duke Cruz. For the Gamecocks, it got off to a decent start.
Look at our first half statistics, and neither team, was very pretty offensively, but you could say Tennessee was effective, knocking down 50% of their shots.
Well, South Carolina kept them from killing them from 3, but South Carolina, Dave, only 32% from the floor, not getting to the foul line. This team is struggling on the offensive end of the court.
They came in averaging a league low 62.5 points a game. We'll see what they have in store in the second half. Thanks for watching our Chevy halftime report. Second half basketball on the way.
There's more to it. You're watching FSN South.
Tennessee leading 33-22, an 11-point advantage for the Volunteers. And they have developed this 11-point lead despite the fact that Chris Lofton, you could argue, his worst first half in the last year and a half anyway. He plays 10 minutes, goes 0 for 2 from the field. Both were 3-point attempts. He's scoreless. Picked up 2 fouls, didn't play many minutes. I mean, and they're up 11.
Well, and Bradshaw doesn't have a point either. But that young man right there, number 5, can get it going at any moment and light the scoreboard up.
Tennessee well below their average. They average about 42 points per game in each half, and today only 33 posted by Bruce Pearl's club. Some of that can be attributed to the way South Carolina plays, running the shot clock down to 10 seconds or less. The zone defense on the other side. Dominique Archie, Dave Odom talking to us today about he really needed Dominique Archie to step it up and provide them some offense to go along with Wallace and Kelly. But the flip side of that is Kelly and Wallace haven't provided much.
Well, that's what's the problem. They have not enough consistent play on the offensive end, Dave, to get it done when they have the ball. Kelly only 2 of 10 from the floor.
And he is struggling with that knee injury, and he is not 100%. It's a struggle for Trey Kelly physically. He'll line it up. He can still shoot it, that's for sure, much like he did to start this game. Knocks down the 3.
Well, Tennessee goes for the steal, misses it, gets him a wide open 3. I notice his knee, Dave, much more on the defensive end of the court when he's running back than I do when he has the ball. There he goes.
Lofton splits a double team, takes it to the rim, his first points of the game.
I just get the feeling from Lofton, he almost looks like he's mentally tired more than he is physically tired. And the crowd is very, very quiet here today.
Yeah, it's hard to believe we've got about 21,000 in here tonight. It feels like we've got a crowd of about 2,100. Sheldon misfire. Jamar Smith off to Juwan Smith. He'll line it up. No good. Lofton with the tip in over Benulis. How about Chris Lofton at just 6'2", getting up over the Efka Benulis, who's 6'7".
Well, the shot is taken in transition. Very hard to get blockouts.
It'll be Tennessee basketball. Mike Nance says Tennessee will have the possession.
Nobody puts a body on Lofton, but in transition, it's difficult again, Dave, to block out. In the crossover, he gets to the basket. think that might be the first turnover that South Carolina has had versus the full court press.
It is. Lofton again to the basket. This time it didn't go down. Lamar Smith with the loose ball. His shot won't go down. Banulis the rebound. Here's Kelly. Bounce pass to Archie. And now Lofton looks like he might have twisted an ankle.
I believe he might have stepped on the back of Archie's foot as Archie was going to the basket. Nice bounce pass by Kelly. And he steps on the foot, it looks like, of Archie as Archie explodes to the basket. This could be a very tough injury for the Vols. Freakish. Great camera work by the guys in the truck.
See Chad Newman, basketball team trainer, helping Lofton to his left foot. Boy, it's not been a good night for Chris Lofton, and it just got a little bit worse. You mentioned it was quiet in here before, but when Lofton went down, it was perhaps the quietest it had been all night.
Well, they're taking him, it looks like, maybe to the locker room, Dave. Well, they're sitting him down at the end of the bench, and I could tell you as a former head coach, when a player like that goes down, it is hard to keep your concentration as the head coach as you're wondering what is going on with your star player. Let's see if South Carolina can pick it up now that Lofton's out.
10-point game. Here's Cruz. In the corner it goes. Juwan Smith. Wallace wasn't buying the pump fake. Inside to Cruz. Works against three South Carolina defenders. There is the SEC's leading scorer at 22.5 points a game. Still writhing in pain. Trey Kelly back the other way.
Great decision. Most guards force that play, but you could see Kelly didn't have the speed to get to the basket like he normally would.
Sheldon dumps it inside to Wallace. Here comes Archie. He'll keep it himself. Wallace, little jump hook, count the basket. Wallace with 7 points and 7 rebounds already. Wallace has been a monster on the glass this year for South Carolina, averaging just shy of 9 rebounds a game. Here's Bradshaw. Little spin, nowhere to go. Off to Lamar Smith. Gets it back inside as the runner goes down.
Well, that's
Tough shot.
That's through the middle of a zone, a matchup switching zone, and Smith takes it to the basket with Lofton out. Good move again, the play zone with Chris Lofton out. This is not a particularly strong three-point shooting team for Tennessee outside of Smith.
Juwan Smith becomes your leading scorer, averaging 14 a game. An offensive foul, Dane Bradshaw. And senior leadership draws the offensive foul on Dominique Archie, and that will be his 4th, Coach.
Wow, big foul. Bradshaw does a little bit of everything. He comes across the lane. Again, an offensive player trying to get it to the basket from outside the three-point line. Very difficult to do without running over somebody.
So Archie, South Carolina's leading scorer with 12 points. He's 6 out of 7 from the floor. Now sits on the bench and will probably be there for a while.
We are UT. We are UT.
Here's Bradshaw. Back to Lamar Smith. Shot clock now at 7. Here comes a screen from Bradshaw. He'll kick it around to Josh Tabb. His shot no good. Rebound picked up by Banulis. And a palming violation against Trey Kelly. Dave Odom certainly doesn't like it. The 10th South Carolina turnover.
Could not see that from our position, Dave, on the other side of the court, but right in front of Dave Odom.
Dave Odom talking about having to deal with a very young team. As Wayne Chisholm goes strong to the basket, he's got 8 in the game. It's a tough deal to try to massage your freshman, make him get better, but yet still try to do things to win some basketball games. As a coach, I'm sure you've been in that position before.
Well, you've got to play him, Dave, to get him experience. There's no way to get experience without playing, and they really have no choice. Again, a young basketball team outside of the 2 seniors.
And Wayne Chisholm just picked up a technical foul. I didn't see what Wayne did, but we will get an update when we come back. Timeout on the floor. We're at Tennessee, if you couldn't tell. 41-30, Vols leading South Carolina, and Wayne Chisholm just picked up a technical foul, and here's why. On the inbounds play, he reaches over and strips the ball out of Brandon Wallace's hand. Now, there was like 4 seconds on the 5-second count. As you described, probably not the smartest thing Wayne Chisholm's done on the basketball floor.
That's a no-no, Dave. All players are taught when pressing on the ball not to reach across the line, the out-of-bounds line, and knock the ball or touch the ball. That's an automatic technical foul.
But that type of violation won't go down as a personal or a team foul. Some technicals will get you a personal foul and a team foul, but not in that situation.
Wayne certainly knows not to do it. There are times where all of a sudden you get an urge, the ball is right there in front of you, and you just react.
Kelly just stopped an 8-for-8 streak in terms of free throws in SEC competition. Now 9 out of 10 in 3+ SEC games.
Tennessee back to full court pressing now. They called it off during the first half, and even with Lofton out of the game, back to their full court press. But South Carolina can throw it back to a big man taking it out, who's really a small forward. Excellent ball handling skills by Wallace.
And by the way, Coach, they have taken Chris Lofton back into that Tennessee locker room. Take a look at that ankle that he twisted moments ago. There's Rayleigh Ross, guarded by Ramar Smith. Forced it, then tapped it around, and Ramar comes out of there with it. 5 rebounds for Ramar Smith. Nice dribbling. He takes it the distance, but couldn't get it to go down.
Well, thought about dunking it. Why not just lay the ball in? Typically, teams make you pay when you miss the easy one. Let's see if South Carolina can take advantage.
Rayleigh Ross. Off to Wallace in that low block. Good spin move. But Chisholm held his ground nicely. Here's Childers back the other way. Blocked by Manolis, but a foul called against Evka. That'll be his first.
Both teams missing easy opportunities. Great speed and explosion to the basket, but he tries to dunk the basketball. That young man, though, Dave, as you indicated early in this game, has really come on in Southeastern Conference play.
He has 7 double-figure scoring games in the last 7 contests. And he's coming off a career-high 19 against Auburn, talking about Ramar Smith. And he's shooting nearly 50% from the floor. He's knocked down 24 of his last 50 field goal attempts.
Tied for steals in the SEC.
Childress. But the follow is there by Chisholm.
Well, it cost him another assist as Childress couldn't get the easy one to go down, but Wayne Chisholm becoming a force here today.
10 points, 5 rebounds for Wayne Chisholm. He's averaging 8 points and 5 boards a game. The biggest lead of the night for Tennessee. It's at 13. Trey Kelly working a little 2-man game with Wallace. Cross-court pass. Sheldon. Off the front of the iron. Chisholm the rebound. Here comes Jawan Smith. Jawan. Back Chisholm around to Howell.
Tennessee in a widespread semi-French offense. Excellent spacing, using cutters along the baseline, looking for a defensive mistake by South Carolina.
Tough shot by Jawan Smith. He gets it to go down, and for Jawan, he's got 15, his first points here in the second half.
Hey, Dave, that ball was supposed to go back to Howell for a three-point shot.
South Carolina takes a timeout. They are on another 3-minute scoring drought. They've had 4 of those in this game, and they trail by 15. Back to Knoxville in a moment. Time for our Ford Edge of Your Seat play of the game. How about the follow-up from Wayne Chisholm, who's having a nice evening off the bench for Tennessee tonight.
Well, dribble penetration, draws the defense to the ball, and typically frees up weak side offensive rebounders. Young man has a great smile.
He and Duke Cruz, the 2 freshman post players, kind of struggled a little bit the last 3 games. Bruce Pearl says he needs him to kind of come out and play a little bit better, but certainly as freshmen you're going to have up and downs.
Well, Dave, I think it's the length of the season and the number of games for freshmen. They're not used to it coming from high school, and typically it's more of a mental fatigue, in my opinion, than a physical fatigue. They just, every day they're being pushed. Every day it's another tough opponent.
Yeah, both these clubs haven't exactly taken the easy road in terms of scheduling this year. There's Benulis off a screen, knocks down the jumper. That's his first basket tonight for Evka Benulis, the freshman out of Lithuania.
Nice set play, a little inside screen for Benulis, who comes off and hits the 3.
There's Howell with that fractured right hand. His first appearance in 7 games. Lamar Smith working on Wallace, takes it in. Another tough shot. I think Rayleigh Ross got a piece of it. Loose basketball. Here's Wallace off to Kelly. Kelly finds Dwayne Day cutting to the basket. Nice fast break by the Gamecocks. 5 assists for Trey Kelly in the game.
He has the ball in the middle of a fast break. Good things happen. Outstanding decision maker, under control.
Jawan Smith in and out. Rebound Wallace. She's battling with Childress. Really South Carolina basketball. I think the crowd thinks Wallace touched it last, but I think Childress got away with a foul, so it all works out well in the end. Tennessee out rebounding South Carolina 26-20 as Benulis misfires. Follow no good by Wallace. Batted around. He'll have another shot. Offensive foul. That'll be the 3rd on the senior from Jackson, South Carolina. South Carolina struggling to put points on the board. Only down 11, however, but plays like this will help. Well, the update on Chris Lofton is he is back in the locker room, will not return with a twisted ankle. And he was just starting to get it going, Coach. After an 0-for-2 first half, he had back-to-back buckets here in the second half before the injury.
Well, and really kind of a freak injury, Dave, stepping on the back foot right there of Dominique Archie, trying to stop the fast break. And that's bad news, but let's talk about quickly the upcoming schedule for Tennessee. If, in fact, Lofton is unable to play their next 4, at Ole Miss on Wednesday, at Kentucky on Saturday, Georgia at home, and at Florida. So 3 of their next 4 are away from Thompson-Boling.
It'll be a tough road. There's Philip Fulmer in the middle of that picture, head football coach here at Tennessee. Got things going in the right direction after a disappointing 0-5. Certainly a lot to look forward to in 07 as a football fan. And the foul against Tennessee on the inside. Excuse me, going to be a turnover against Wayne Chisholm. Traveling violation, gives the ball back to South Carolina.
The headband gone from Wayne Chisholm. Took it off, don't know why.
Here's Rayleigh Ross off to Trey Kelly. An 11-point game with 11 minutes to go. There is ample opportunity here for South Carolina if they can get a little bit of offense. But, Coach, it has been a struggle for them to get the ball in the basket. Shot clock down to 6. Long three missed by Dwayne Day. Rebound off to Chisholm. He's got 7 now. Here's Bradshaw. A little fall away. In and out. No good. Tennessee now shooting 47% from the floor. South Carolina 35%. The follow by Benulis goes down.
Well, another example, an easy miss, but the help comes across the lane like it should, freeing up the weak side rebound.
Well, the tip in by Benulis makes it a 9-point game. Tennessee led by 11 at the break. They got the lead all the way up to 15, but South Carolina chipping away at it.
See a different look in the Gamecocks' eyes. Much more confident.
Swatted by Wallace. Out to Juwan Smith. He misfires. Last touch by Benulis. It'll be Tennessee basketball. That's Wallace's 45th block. 208 in his career. He is 27 shy of the school record held by Danny Traylor, who played back in the early 70s for the Gamecocks.
Long and quick off of his feet.
And a foul against Rayleigh Ross. That'll be his first.
Dave, Tennessee is really bogging down on the offensive end. They're not getting to the foul line. They cannot get open from 3. And how about
Bradshaw throws it off the back of Brandon Wallace, catches the inbounds pass, and then tried to hit a wide open Duke Cruz who couldn't handle the bounce pass.
Well, that's an old New York City trick, I think, but he grew up in Memphis, didn't he?
He did?
Yeah.
Maybe it's an old Memphis trick.
It was there.
Right.
It was there. It didn't work.
Tennessee is on a 4-minute and 15-second drought. They've missed their last 4 field goal attempts. They have been struggling on the offensive end as South Carolina has chipped away at the 15-point lead.
High post screen for Kelly.
Wallace.
Switched by Tennessee. Excuse me, Dave.
Kelly lets it go. Well off the mark as the shot clock was winding down. Ramar Smith back the other way.
Always a good idea to switch the high post ball screen and cover the ball.
Here's Cruz, travels. Bruce Pearl wanted a blocking foul against the Gamecocks, won't get it. And the drought continues for Tennessee. You be the judge.
To me, 2-foot jump stop, probably a block, and I didn't see the walk.
There's Wallace off to Benulis. He knocks down the 3. We've got a 6-point game, and boy, is this eerily familiar to what happened in Auburn on Wednesday night. Tennessee led by 14. Then they went on a 6-minute scoring drought, and Auburn went on an 18-0 run. Timeout taken by Bruce Pearl and the Tennessee Volunteers as South Carolina on a 9-0 run.
Well, South Carolina making the extra pass and finding a very good 3-point shooter open at the top of the key.
Feet, you got to go back a long time. I think you were point guard on this club.
Flushing High School? St. John's University.
Back in 1943 and 44, Joe Lapchick, of course, the coach back in the day.
Rebounder. That's true.
Well, it got you a scholarship at Carolina, didn't it?
I shot it every time I had it.
That a boy.
South Carolina back zone. Oh, my.
Ramar Smith with a circus shot. Won't go down. Duke Cruz battling for it. Rebound taken by Brandis Raley-Ross, the 6'2 guard, an excellent rebounder with that 77-inch wingspan.
Well, a lid must be on that basket. Tennessee has 3 shots almost to win the basket, but can't score.
Day fires. That's a 3-point attempt, I believe. And that'll be the second on Jordan Howell, and that will be 3 free throws for Dwayne Day coming up to make this a 1-possession game possibly.
The pass by Bradshaw. Lamar Smith can't get it to go down. They stay at it, tips, and South Carolina comes out with it.
Now we're going to have a discussion. Mike Eads calling over Rick Crawford. I think maybe they want to look and see who the foul was on. Perhaps. I'm only guessing here. I'm 50 feet away.
Well, Bruce Pearl.
Now they're going to see if it's a 3-point or not. No. He did have a foot on the line.
And Bruce Pearl looking up at the Jumbotron here, asking where the foul is.
Yeah, that is a 2-point attempt, so that'll be 2 free throws. So a good work by a crew. Mike Eads, Rick Crawford, and Mike Nance to kind of slow it down and get it right.
Dave, Bruce Pearl needs to be very careful here not to let the officiating become part of this game and get himself, his staff, and his team distracted by the whistles. I've been there. I've done it.
And he talked to us about it, that he cannot let it, he doesn't want it to affect his team.
But the team feeds off the coach. When the team sees the coach looking up, questioning calls, they know what's going on.
And a tripping foul. And for a moment there, I thought maybe Howell might have tripped his own guy. That very well may have been a trip by his own teammate. And Dave Odom wants some answers. Timeout on the floor. How about this? Tennessee's last score came at the 14-minute mark. They have gone 6 minutes. They were up 46-31 at that point. Since they are 0 for 6 from the floor. Here's moments ago. Jordan Howell trips his own teammate, and they call a foul on Brian Raley-Ross of South Carolina. Bradshaw playing with a bad shoulder that will be a bad shoulder all season long. Hits the floor, held his back a little bit, but that's an oops right there.
I thought he went over the foul, tripped over the foul line.
Yeah. Dave Odom, as we went to break, was searching for an answer. Who's the foul on? Well, Jordan Howell.
Well, Tennessee believes there wasn't a foul in the play before on the foul on Day. Referee's doing a good job. Game under control. Not going to get them all.
Here's Cruz inside. Cutting Juwan Smith. Wallace came over to swat it away. And that foul will go against Brandon Wallace. I believe it's Dwayne Day will pick it up. That'll be his third. Wallace carrying 3 in the game as well. Wallace 7 points and 11 rebounds for South Carolina, by the way.
Gamecocks' 16th foul. Fouls will be in the bonus.
Can they break this 6-minute, 9-second scoring drought? Yes, they can. It's Juwan Smith, who now has 16 to lead everybody in the game. 13 in the first half.
Bruce Pearl going with Jordan Howell in clutch minutes here in his first game back.
Well, he has to do it. He's kind of forced to do it with Chris Lofton back in the Tennessee locker room with that twisted ankle that'll make you cringe when you see the replay again. Eight-point Tennessee advantage. Here's Dwayne Day. Driving to the basket. Got it to go down over Juwan Smith. That's 4 for Dwayne Day. Here's Juwan Smith the other way. His 3. About a foot too far out.
And Dave, I think that's a quick, questionable shot. Your team needs a basket and you fire it up, contested on one pass.
season high 12 rebounds for Wallace tonight. Trey Kelly coming off the screen. Trey's got a couple of threes tonight. 2 out of 6 from behind the arc. 5 assists though for Trey, playing on that bad knee. Shot clock at 4. Vanoulis had it knocked out of his hands right into Dane Bradshaw. 7 steals for Tennessee. A team that came in averaging 10 a game, that is best in the Southeastern Conference. Chisholm flashes across the middle, rebound to Wallace, number 13, the 6'9" senior. One more and he will match his career high in rebounds. Off to Kelly, wide open 3, got it. Oh, was that dead solid? Perfect. It's a 3-point game. South Carolina hanging in there with the 22nd ranked Vols on the road. Howell tries to answer. No good. Chisholm the rebound, and he's fouled by Rayleigh Ross.
Well, nice set play. Drive the baseline. They bring the offensive player.
Remember, Tennessee has struggled mightily from the free throw line. Coming into this game in their 3 prior contests, they had knocked down just 43% of their free throws, 18 out of 41, losing those 3 games by a combined 6 points. But tonight, those woes continue. They're 9 out of 14. Juwan Smith dumps it inside. Chisholm Smith. Move, and then the jam over Vanoulis.
Well, he fakes the pass to the corner. The defense goes for it, and he spins with an open lane to the basket. Huge hoop for Tennessee.
A dozen for Wayne Chisholm to go along with 9 boards. A 5-point game, timeout, South Carolina.
And Bruce Pearl with a smile, trying to keep his team in the game with confidence. Struggling to score, only 50 points total for Tennessee here so far today. The fake to the corner pass, and everybody, including Vanoulis, went for it. Oops.
You know, it's moves like that that make you say, wait till next year or the year after from a player like Wayne Chisholm. And that's what freshmen do. They give you those glimmers of the future, and that'll put a smile on your face if you're a Tennessee fan.
Very skilled player. I want to see, as their careers go on, will Bruce Pearl play Chisholm and Cruz together? I believe he will. Bruce told me a couple weeks ago when I was here, Dave, he tries to keep freshmen playing one position. By moving Chisholm to a 4, he would be asking him to play center and power forward, which is difficult to do for a freshman. So what they have now is they have the 2 big freshmen splitting the center spot and getting, quite frankly, great numbers out of the 5 position. But again, I look for them to begin playing together starting next season.
Tennessee had one other game where they struggled on offense like this. I mean, to this point, against Butler earlier this year, back in November, they lost 56-44 when they shot 25%. Well, tonight they're shooting a little bit better, 40%. But only lead by 5 with 5.5 to go. Time for our Dodge drive of the game, and why not give it to Wayne Chisholm? Nice little ball fake, got Vanoulis and Wallace to look away, and then he slides into the middle and jams it home. Wayne Chisholm, the 6'9" freshman from right here in the Volunteer State. His running mate, Duke Cruz, the 6'7" freshman. Bruce Pearl had to go get him out of Virginia.
Well, if I'm Tennessee, excuse me, Dave, anybody but Kelly. I want the ball to be shot by anybody but Kelly. I know he can get it done.
He has it now. Juwan Smith, that's his task, to stop Kelly. We'll see if the senior Trey Kelly can work some magic here. He gets it off to Day. His little fall away is good. Good shot by Dwayne Day. 6 in the game for him.
And typically a 3-point shooter only, putting the ball down on the floor.
Dwayne Day had been struggling big time in SEC games. There's the block shot by Wallace. Loose ball on the floor. It comes to Trey Kelly. Bounce pass. Day. No foul on the play. Block shot, says our crew. It'll be South Carolina basketball.
Well, Brandon Wallace just rejects shots very easily inside. And again, Kelly in the middle of the break, always a great decision. My gosh, no harm, no foul.
And a timeout taken. Dave Odom shakes his head, but they didn't turn it over, and that is something that has been an issue for opponents. Once again, there have been 17 5-second violations against Tennessee. Tennessee's forced their opponents into that. They've also forced their opponents to use 20, now make it 21 timeouts trying to inbound a basketball. And 3 times this year, they forced their opponents into 10 turnovers off inbounds passes.
It's mind-boggling, Dave, and I would doubt very seriously if any other team in America is as good as Tennessee is.
Why?
Guarding out of bounds plays. Pressure on the ball by a big, switching everything coming in, making you throw it over the top, which is a dangerous play. South Carolina forced to use a timeout, only 1 left in the game now.
Every possession is valued more and more as we get toward the end of this game, and certainly I think Dave Odom didn't want to use that timeout, but the alternative was to cough it up.
Well, when you copy somebody, it's the sincerest form of flattery. I look for other teams around the country, and particularly in the league, to start implementing the out-of-bounds defense of Tennessee.
And they caused the turnover and then got the timeout. Were both feet on the floor? I believe they were. So in college basketball's new timeout era, Wayne Chisholm can use the timeout.
It is unbelievable. Again, size and pressure on the ball, switching the screens, making passes very difficult to come inbounds.
New rule in college basketball to clarify, you can't be jumping out of bounds with the ball, calling a timeout. You got to have both feet on the floor, and that's exactly what Wayne Chisholm had there. So we got the timeout, but that is now 18 turnovers.
Size on the ball is huge, Dave. A 6'9" guy with his hands up blocks the vision of the passer. Tennessee, the worst free throw shooting team in the SEC, will have to make some crucial free throws down the stretch of this game to win.
Make that 13 turnovers by South Carolina tonight. They came in leading the league in fewest turnovers, a little bit under 12.
Cox in his zone.
Tab out of the corner.
Well, Tab gets the 3, but give Bradshaw the great pass and the assist. Wide open 3. It goes inside to Bradshaw, back outside.
6 assists for Dane Bradshaw.
When coaches in this league watch Dane Bradshaw play, they drool. They all want him on their team.
Vanoulis off the front of the iron. Rebound to Jawan Smith. That's 7 boards for Jawan to go along with 17 points. And he goes in the lane. Offensive foul. That'll be the second on Jawan. No basket.
And that's what I was talking about earlier, Dave. You're up 6. You just hit a 3. Time and score. Look at the pass weak side by Bradshaw.
Dane Bradshaw does a marvelous job of getting into the lane from whatever position he is on the floor. He finds his way to the paint and kicks it out.
And then he's a passer. He's not a scorer, so you should play the passes out and make him score over a big guy. Easy to say, hard to do.
There's Wallace. He can shoot the 3 if need be. Shot clock down to 8. There's Wallace. He can also dunk it if need be.
Well, Brandis Raley-Ross on the penetration and kick. Freshman from Gastonia, North Carolina.
South Carolina won't go away. They're down 4. Bradshaw. It's double teamed in the lane and has his 7th assist.
Stay on the floor. Stay with your man. Make him shoot it over you. And he's got great spins inside. Nobody would pick him out in an AAU game in the summer, but every coach wants him on his team. Every coach in this league would love to have him.
Here's Dwayne Day. Trey Kelly working on Jawan Smith. Here goes Trey into the lane. He'll kick it out. Raley-Ross for 3 off the back of the iron. Tapped out by Wallace. It finds Trey Kelly, who knocks down the three, and Trey has 15 in the game with 4 3-pointers, and it's a one-possession contest. And the crowd goes silent again.
South Carolina back man-to-man now. Changing defenses. Trying to find one to stop the Vols. Oh, my.
Juwan Smith out of the corner, off the iron. Ramar Smith gets it to Juwan Smith. Count the basket. Goaltending against Brandon Wallace. 19 for Juwan Smith, but South Carolina hanging tough on the road. 2:21 to go. It's a 5-point Volunteer lead. It's crunch time here in Knoxville, Tennessee, and South Carolina. It's a 5-point game, and you see our game reset. Tennessee with 2 timeouts left. South Carolina with just 1. Gamecocks have already put Tennessee into the 1-1 situation, and plenty of fouls to give now for Tennessee down the stretch. And if you're just joining us, this is the big news out of Knoxville right now. Chris Lofton, the SEC's leading scorer and perhaps the best shooter in college basketball, goes down after he twists his ankle, carried off the floor, went in the locker, actually sat on the bench for a few minutes, then went into the locker room, and he is done for the night. No word yet on the severity of that injury, but Bruce Pearl has to be somewhat concerned, but we'll deal with that after this game tonight. His club leading by 5, South Carolina trying to break a 4-game losing skid. Tennessee trying to snap a 3-game losing skid. Kelly, another 3 on the way. Off the iron, Day battling Bradshaw. They'll say jump ball. Arrow will favor Tennessee.
Well, Kelly had it right on line, right in front of us, Dave. I thought that was good. The dribble handoffs. Back rim. And guess who? Bradshaw.
Bradshaw's yet to score, but his impact in this game cannot be underscored. 3 rebounds, 7 assists, a couple of steals.
I asked Craig Pinkerton today, could Bradshaw dunk? The SID of Tennessee said he has had 1. Seriously, he has 1 dunk this year. No points in this game, and I wish I had him on any team I coached.
Here's Bradshaw taking it in the lane again. This time they played the pass. Bradshaw couldn't convert. They finally played the pass, and the result is no basket.
Well, he is a pass first, shoot second player. Oh, my.
Wallace goes strong. No whistle. Tennessee has it with 1:20 to go. Wallace got right to the iron, much like Bradshaw on the other end.
Well, he pinned it against the rim, Dave, and the force threw him to the ground. But again, with Bradshaw, he's looking to pass first, had the open layup and was surprised and missed it.
Tennessee taking the shot clock under 10. We're under a minute to go. Bounce pass. Juwan Smith fouled by Dwayne Day. What a pass from Dane Bradshaw.
Well, they come off the high post ball screen. Looks like he's going to penetrate, and now the backdoor. The backdoor, set backdoor play. Comes off the ball screen, the bounce pass, boom. Excellent execution. Good call by Bruce Pearl.
That's 4 on Dwayne Day. And that will send Juwan Smith to the free throw line. Juwan, 2 out of 4 tonight. It's the first one to go down, and Juwan has 20 in the game.
Dave, Tennessee with only 14 fouls. They have 2 to give without giving up. A 1-and-1. Any foul on the floor will be taken out of bounds. I would look for them to use these 2 team fouls wisely. If South Carolina puts the ball in scoring position, I'd foul on the floor.
Here's Trey Kelly in the lane, kicks it out. Benulis, his 3 out of the corner is good. 59-55, a quick timeout. That took all of 10 seconds for South Carolina to go down and go +1 after the free throws.
Well,
on 2 better here tonight. They've all been in the second half.
Well, when I was in South Carolina, I coached a young man, Dave, from Lithuania, Marius Petrofisas, and one of the great, great young people I ever had a pleasure to be around and coach.
You look at South Carolina shooting the 3. That has kept them in the game. They've knocked down 5 here in the half, 7 in the game.
Gamecocks coming out pressing, need a steal, 5-second counter. They're going to pick out a bad foul shooter.
They got Ramar Smith. Ramar Smith on the season, 63% at the line, 45 out of 71. He will step to the stripe, where he has not attempted a free throw tonight. That'll be 4 fouls on Brandis Raley-Ross, the freshman out of Charlotte.
And Dave, if Lofton was in this ball game, guess who the first pass would have gone into from the out-of-bounds play? It would have been Chris Lofton, an excellent foul shooter.
Ramar Smith at the line, just 12 points all in the half, make it 13. And, you know, it's funny watching Bruce Pearl on the far side. He was joking with Ramar Smith as he went to the line to take some of the pressure off the young man in a 4-point game. And as Ramar knocked it down, he had a little chuckle.
Well, he is keeping his team's spirits up and positive. Look for Tennessee to switch every screen on the perimeter, make sure they cover 3-point shooters and not help on dribble penetration.
Shot well short, foul on Raley-Ross in the corner, and that'll be all for Brandis Raley-Ross as he picks up his 5th. 0 points for Brandis, 0 for 4 from the floor. He did have 3 rebounds and 3 assists. So Jordan Howell will step to the free throw line. Jordan with a couple of points tonight, his first free throws coming up.
You know, Dave, South Carolina, you will not recognize their team next year. They have 9 new faces coming in. I was at practice the other day. I love Devin Downey, the transfer from Cincinnati. Zam Frederick, transfer from Georgia Tech. They will have a very good, experienced backcourt. They're bringing in 6 high school players, new players, 5 from South Carolina. You will not recognize this team next season. Good young talent coming into Dave Odom's squad.
Dwayne Day knocks down the 3. South Carolina without any timeouts. Down 4. And a reach-in foul on Dwayne Day. That'll send Ramar Smith back to the line, and that'll be 5 on Dwayne Day. So his evening is over. Dwayne Day goes to the bench with 6 points. I will say this about South Carolina, Coach. We still have 20 seconds to go here, but you know, coming into this, they had just been getting pounded. I didn't know what to expect. You're on the road, 20,000 on hand. They could have easily folded the tents, but Dave Odom kept his team positive, and they fought through a lot here to keep this one in reach.
Well, they're much better than they're better than the last 3 games. This is a team that opened its season at Southern California, who's headed for the NCAA tournament, won at Southern Cal, has won at Baylor. Had a very good non-conference, hit a very tough stretch of the schedule, and basically just got drilled. Probably have lost confidence.
I don't know what this game will do for you in terms of confidence. It's still a loss. Your losing streak goes to 5.
Well, they're at home. They need to get a win at home. They're at home Wednesday night versus Arkansas, who just had a great win at home today versus LSU.
Yeah, Arkansas wins by 20 over LSU. And Vandy beats Kentucky, snapping the Wildcats' 11-game win streak. Kelly lets it go and knocks it down with 4 seconds. It's a 3-point game, but then up ahead of the field is Juwan Smith, who can't get it to go down. Bruce Pearl shakes his head.
Wow.
Son, what are you doing? He'll take the win.
Dave, I've never seen that before. What happens if it gets caught by a South Carolina player who heaves it for a 3-point basket overtime? I would not want to be. I wouldn't want to be in the locker room when that's replayed.
Regardless, Tennessee picks up the win, Coach. They snap their 3-game losing streak. They beat South Carolina 64-61. Juwan Smith led everybody with 21 in the game for Tennessee. So the final score once again from Thompson Bowling, 64-61 the Vols. So for Coach Eddie Fogler, I'm Dave Neal saying so long from Knoxville. We'll have more SEC college hoops 1 week from today when the #1 team in the nation, the Florida Gators, travel to Auburn. Check the listings in your area. This has been a presentation of SEC College Hoops on FSN. We'll see you down the road.